Welcome. We are on episode 59 of the Marketing That Grows Your Business show. And this week, our special guest is here to tell us and talk to us about LinkedIn. Now, if you're like me, LinkedIn is one of those social platforms that traditionally I've kind of like let slide. Like I'll go, check in, every couple of days. I've not been, in all transparency, super in love with LinkedIn. So if that is you, you're like, that's me. But you know that you need to be focused because it's a business platform. I would argue that for most of us, LinkedIn probably has more power than many of the other social platforms. So why in the world don't we pay more attention to it, right? So hopefully today our guest is going to drop some knowledge bombs on us, and we're going to get a fire lit under our tushes, and we're going to say, yes, we are going to be more active on LinkedIn. Okay. So that's what our goal is today. A couple of quick things. If you hear something you like, whatever, show us some love. Also, if you know somebody that's been talking about LinkedIn or needs to really be proactive on LinkedIn, just tag them or sprinkle us out into the world by hitting that S button. We would love to have more people here so that they can take advantage of what our guest today, Ted, is going to share with you guys. So share the love, pass it out, all the things. And we do some giveaways every week. Yes, every week we do giveaways. And today is no different. I want to share, I actually got a physical product to show you today. I'm super excited about it. This is one of the new mugs from my store. And we're going to be giving away this today. It's official. You're awesome. Like all of you guys. Anybody listening, watching on the replay, you are awesome. I just want you to know it. So we're going to be giving one of these away. And we're also going to be giving away something that's LinkedIn related. We're going to give away some LinkedIn cover image templates. So if you are like on LinkedIn and you know you need a new cover image for your profile, but you haven't really, you're not super like, creative, or you're not a graphics person, then you're going to want to win those templates. Okay. How do you win them? We do what's called aha moments around here. So why do I never get my fingers right? If you hear something that you needed to know or didn't know, or you knew it, but you needed to hear it again, which is definitely my thing when it comes to LinkedIn, then just type in the area down under your aha moments. Use the hashtag aha, and we will use those aha moments. We'll pop them into this little wheel, and at the end, we'll pick our winners for those two prizes. Again, the prize is this amazing mug, which it's awesome. It's official. You're awesome, rather. And then the LinkedIn cover templates is what we're going to be giving away today. All right. So before I introduce our special guest, I want to share, maybe it's more of a big shout out for our sponsor. RESTREAM is the sponsor for this show. This is my new go-to platform for live streaming to multiple social media channels at the same time, like one block at a time. You sit down, you share your content in multiple places. It's like the bomb diggity. Right now, we are live on Facebook. I'm not sure if we're live on Twitter now that Periscope is gone, but I'll have to figure that one out. LinkedIn and YouTube, they have a super easy to use interface for doing cool transitions, bringing comments and customized text up on the screen, and seamlessly bringing on guests. You can also brand your live shows with cool show overlays, logos, and even pull in custom graphics, just like you saw me do just a moment ago. This is the perfect platform for new and experienced creators alike. You can use the link we have in the comments to sign up for free and to get $10 off of your first month. You will love this little tool. Lots of amazing things. One quick thing before I introduce our guest. For those of you who've never been on one of my live shows before, my name is Kim Garst. I love helping people make more money online. If you're interested in that, check out my website, kimgarst.com. Would love to help you in any capacity. That's why we have this show. I bring on amazing guests to share their experience and help you get to a better place in your business. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget to type in hashtag replay so I can meet you. And if you're new, I would love to wave. So if you're new, just drop in hashtag new. Love to say hey. All right. I see here, Keegan is saying we fell in love with RESTREAM when we started using it for our church live stream. Yes, it's an amazing little tool. You guys are going to love it. All right. So Pamela is saying, show us your ring. I'm not sure which one. It's kind of embarrassing to show my hands because one, I haven't had my nails done since COVID struck. And two, I painted my living room this weekend and I've got gray paint all over my fingernails. So anyway, just something y'all needed to know. All right, now let's focus on why we're here. I'm really excited, like I said, to have Ted with us today. I want to give you a little background on him, and then we're going to dive in. Okay, so Ted has wrote 2 books, y'all. He's an America's leading LinkedIn coach. And I think he's the best kept secret, frankly, because it's fascinating how many people don't know Ted, and they need to. Hence, why you are here today. Okay, but he's the best-selling author of The Ultimate Guide to LinkedIn for Business and The Ultimate Guide to Twitter for Business through Entrepreneur Press. And he's also really focused on social selling in particular and online advertising. He's the founder of Search Marketing Simplified, a full-service social media marketing firm. He's been featured in Entrepreneur.com, New York Times, CNBC, and Forbes. The SMS team creates advanced LinkedIn and social media lead generation strategies for small to medium-sized businesses with over 100 million in revenue generated for his clients. Read that just for a second, y'all. Over 100 million in revenue generated for his clients. That's pretty stinking amazing, right? So put your hands together for my sweet friend, Ted. All right, applause. Hey, Ted.
Hey, Kim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Good. I'm using RESTREAM too. I love it. It's so easy.
We switched over not long ago, and I'm just really loving it. I love many things about it, but I think the thing that I really like that some of the other platforms don't have is the analytics. It's kind of nice to be able to see that piece of it, which is kind of cool.
And the guests can come on so easily. You don't have to spend an hour getting your guests on.
Yes, it's so true. And you don't have all the tech issues. Hey, Pamela, I'm so glad you're here. I just wanted to do the virtual wave, okay? And we've got Christopher is new. Excellent. I'm so glad you're here, Christopher. All right. So I love seeing all your faces, guys. All right. One quick thing for those of you who are watching or even on the replay, if you have questions, don't hesitate to drop them in. I will try to catch them as we go. If your question doesn't get answered, in the course of, this, we'll try to circle back and answer them after, but definitely drop in your questions. This is an interactive. Ted's live with us right now. We want to make sure that you guys get your questions answered when it comes to LinkedIn. Okay. So take a deep breath. Okay, Ted. So when it comes to LinkedIn, like I said before, I think a lot of people set it and forget it, kind of thing. Some people don't even set it up very well. It would be my impression for a lot. I've heard this a lot, and I feel like I've been that person before. But when did you get started with LinkedIn? How long have you been on LinkedIn, and why LinkedIn?
I signed up when it first started. You get that invitation from your friends back in the day. Oh, sign up for this new site. So I signed up, and that was, I didn't even remember the year. I was in the first 6 months LinkedIn started. And I probably didn't log in for another year and a half after that, like most people, because it was just a resume site at that time.
Yeah, that's awesome, though.
You partially fill out your profile, then you set it up.
And when it
was 10 years ago this week, actually, I realized I signed the contract to write the first edition of Ultimate Guide to LinkedIn for Business. And I've written 3 versions of that now in 8 years. So
Okay, so that's an important distinction because I think a lot of times when we are writing books for social media changes so frequently. So your book is current, right?
Yeah, I've written 3 editions of it. And I really try to focus on the strategies too, because as you know, like every time you log in, the interface changes a little bit. But it's about the building relationships. It's not about having a fancy looking profile. It's about just
Yeah.
connecting with
Yeah,
people.
absolutely. Talking with people. I think we have got to shift our mentality from leveraging the power of social media from a broadcast perspective to spending the time to really talk with people. Um, so, in your opinion, is LinkedIn, like, why LinkedIn and why now?
Well, somebody says, "Hey, Kim Garst is really cool. You should check her out." What do? They go to Google and search your name. And usually what comes up is your LinkedIn profile in the top 2 or 3 search listings for your name or your company name. So that's the first impression people get of you. So if you have like a 10-year-old picture and your profile, it's like giving someone a half filled out resume. What impression does that make on you? So
And, I'm
huge.
often saying that it's business cards are like outdated these days. I mean, most people, even if we exchange business cards, because I still think a business card is something we do, right? We still pass it off. But what I usually do if I collect business cards is I'll make a little mark on it and then I go back to the Google machine and I check them out. So LinkedIn and all your socials are your new calling card. We can't and I think LinkedIn in particular from a business perspective, I'll just say my own opinion of this, and I'd love yours as well. And anybody that's in the audience, even listening, I feel like I give a lot more credence to what I find on LinkedIn versus what I might find on Facebook, for example, because it's business related. If I'm trying to check somebody out, what do you think, Ted? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, my friend Alex Bondosian said it really well once. He said, LinkedIn's like a library. It's really quiet and boring because people don't want to get their boss, make noise and see their boss see it. And then you go to Facebook, the same person a minute later goes to Facebook and it's like a playground. They let their hair down, they act like a totally different person. So it's kind of really interesting to see that. That's why I like
Yeah.
to connect with people on both Facebook and LinkedIn to see 2 sides of their personality.
Yeah, well, I think we're a little bit more friends and family on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, we're definitely suited up. Maybe
Right.
that's the best way of saying it. We're in a business. We present ourselves more in a business light than we would necessarily on Facebook. But that said, from a content perspective, and again, trying to build those high value relationships, what is your opinion on the type of content that we could share on LinkedIn? Should we share our kids' birthday parties or adventures to the lake, or the personal side that you would absolutely find on Facebook? Would you do that on LinkedIn?
I haven't been sharing my personal, but what I've been testing lately is I send an email to my list and then I'll share that email as a post on LinkedIn, not as an article, just as a status update. So it has to be under 1,300 characters. So it's short, but I'm getting a tremendous response from that. So my emails, I'm very vulnerable. I share what's going on in my life. Like, my daughter's having a baby. This is what we're going through. This is what I'm doing with my business to adjust so I have more time for the grandchildren. And people are like, oh, thanks for sharing. It's so honest and open. So that's
I
been
love
working really
that.
well for me lately.
That's such a great idea. So y'all jot that one down. I never even considered thinking about it from that perspective is, taking that vulnerability. I think we need to, on all socials, we need to be relatable,
Right.
to attract our person to us. So I think that's definitely a great way to do it.
And you don't have to share every great detail, but just kind of like, hey, I'm having my first grandchild soon. My wife's retiring. I want to adjust my business so I have more time for them. So I'm
And
sharing that. People are like, oh, thank you so much.
I was just telling Ted before the show, I'm like, I'm so jealous. He's getting a grandbaby. And I'm like, would my boys just get with it and find their person already, So, yeah, I'm a little bit jealous. when it comes to LinkedIn, do you have any stories on how LinkedIn, I know LinkedIn is your business. I mean, that's where you primarily focus, how you help others. But do you have any stories on how LinkedIn has like just exploded your business? I'm just curious as to like, is that how you get your leads? I mean, across the board, just feel free to tell us anything you want to.
Yeah, no, a couple of years ago when the second edition of Ultimate Guide to LinkedIn for Business came out, I got an email from this PR firm. They said, hey, somebody at LinkedIn wants to talk to you about your book and about your business. Would you be interested in talking to the senior vice president? And he found me through a Google alert related to Sales Navigator. So we set up a call and we started talking, and then he invited me down to LinkedIn headquarters. And we're talking. He goes, do you really make a full-time living teaching LinkedIn? Why do people need help with LinkedIn? I'm like, oh my God, nobody gets LinkedIn. Maybe shocked. So now
So,
I've been down to the headquarters many times before the pandemic, and they tell me about their new products that are coming out and they want me to write about it for them. So that's like just when LinkedIn finds you from a Google alert and invites you to write about their products, it's like, oh, it's okay.
that's a pretty big deal. I mean, right? That's a pretty big deal.
Those Google alerts, I didn't know they still worked.
Right? And that people still use them. That's even, but hey, everybody has their own methodology for keeping up with the news, I suppose.
Yeah.
When it comes to building high value relationships, and I know you would say, yes, you can do it on LinkedIn. I would argue that it's probably easier there than potentially other social platforms because I think people are looking to connect around business first and foremost when they're on LinkedIn versus some of the other socials. But what are some strategies or some tips? Like if somebody's just brand new and they're looking to start to build out connection and relationships on LinkedIn, what would you say to them? What advice would you give them as a starting point?
Well, the first impression people get is that image, your banner. So those templates you offered are pure gold because as people are skimming, about 60% of people are on their phones on LinkedIn using the mobile app. So they got the small screen and they just scroll. You know how we are on our phones. We don't read, we just scroll. So you want to get their attention. So that banner is one of the first things they see. It'll get them to stop scrolling. And then the next is you have to have a good picture, get a professional picture, even just stand by a blank wall and have somebody take your picture. Our cameras are so good now, but you want a friendly face, just your head. You don't want your whole body, people standing at a wedding. I see that all the time. You can see someone's arm cropped out next to them. It's like maybe your ex-wife was cropped out of your LinkedIn profile picture, but it's really important because that's what they see first. And then the next part is the professional headline right under your name. So that's where you're going to grab their attention.
And I'm just curious on the headline, when people are, well, let me back up for a second. When people are searching for you and, trying to find whatever it is that you have an expertise around, or, if you're a CEO, or because people do search for stuff like that, they're looking for specifically CEOs. And your example before, they obviously had some key phrases that they were searching for, and that's how they found you.
Right.
And so with that in mind, like, can you explain how that headline works when it comes to the search feature?
Yeah, it's just like SEO for your website. There's keyword phrases people would search. So think about what people would search Google for to find you or your business, and use those same phrases in your headline and in your experience section and the about section. So you want to kind of seed it through there. And one little secret is it still works. It's been working for years. In your job title, don't just say CEO. If you look at my profile, I have about 10 jobs under my current company, like Google AdWords expert, LinkedIn coach. So the words in the job title are keyword hotspots, and nobody knows that.
Ooh, we just learned a little secret. Well, in the old days, I'll say the old days, in the early days of LinkedIn, it was like the early days of the Google machine. It was keyword stuffing. Like, you'd see people and they'd have like, whole long list list of the same or variations of the same social media strategist, social media consultant, social media this, social media that, because they wanted to be found under social media. I'm guilty. I did it because that's what we did in the early days, right?
Right.
And
Right.
there's still a very rudimentary search platform, in my opinion. It's not as smart, if you will, as I would say the Google machine. But the keywords are super, super important on LinkedIn because people can find you through those search terms. So think about it and definitely check out, and we'll give you guys Ted's profile so you can go check out his profile. As a LinkedIn pro, following in the footsteps of somebody who knows what they're doing, like reverse engineer it, take a peek at what he's doing and see it, and then you'll be able to see the components of it. Okay, sorry.
No, no, it's important because that's that little snippet, your name. So don't keyword stuff your name. A lot of people do that too. It just doesn't look professional. Plus, LinkedIn doesn't like it.
Agreed. So Monica's asking a great question. She said, I just co-authored a book for social media trainings called Social Impact. Would LinkedIn be a good place to share this?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people are on the social platforms to learn about social media in some cases, but definitely on LinkedIn. There's a lot of business owners. In fact, most of them are probably a lot of business owners. I won't say everybody that's on LinkedIn is a business owner because there's a lot of professional people who, have profiles there. But there are a lot of business owners there who are looking to learn how to use social media to grow their businesses.
Yeah, when I wrote my second book, I had this idea. One of those things that come to you when you're meditating. It says, why don't I hire someone from Upwork to read my manuscript and come up with excerpts for social media posts? So it
Yes.
worked really well. And then this last book, I hired 5 people on Upwork. I said, you have 2 hours, read my manuscript and come up with as many social media posts as you can. I have like hundreds of excerpts from my book that I use as social media posts.
Yeah. And I did that with my my book as well. And I use them today to drive sales. So, I'll pull out like social media isn't built on impressions, it's built on relationships. Perfect, right? Boom, I've
It's
got
good
a
to get
visual
someone
image.
else's perspective because, we have our tunnel vision. So I had
Yes.
5 different people give me their perspective. So I have this, it's great. It was
I
so easy.
love that. I love that. So, quick question. Actually, before I ask the next question, I see we have another question. Oops, sorry. Hang on, Monica. I'm glad you got an answer to that. So, when adding tags, should you use the suggested tags? Well, let me clarify that or let me add a little bit more to that question because I'm curious about this too. Do tags matter? Let's start with that. Do you even need them?
It seems to be like a weekly thing with LinkedIn. Sometimes they work really well, and other times they fell out of favor for quite a while. And then they brought them back a few months ago. So I add 2 or 3. I don't put a lot of hashtags like Instagram. Sometimes you see like 50 hashtags in a post. I do 2 or 3 because LinkedIn's a professional networking site. It's a professional image. So if you have a lot of keyword stuffing or hashtag stuffing, I don't think it looks that good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And, I thought this was a good question too. Chris is asking, or Christopher, hopefully, I shortened it there for you, Christopher. Hopefully, some people call you Chris, okay? Is the bio subject headline a good place for sharing news? Or should it stay static, if you will? That's a great question.
I like to keep testing. Like I change mine about once a month. And just to give a different perspective, sometimes I share if I have a webinar coming up. Sometimes I use the skills. My current one now is more skills based. It's a bunch of different phrases. Sometimes I do a benefit related statement like your USP. I help coaches get higher end clients or something like that. So I'm always just testing.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's one of the things we get a little bbit lazy, and we certainly get lazy on LinkedIn where, set it and forget it and, don't switch things up. So, and I keep pulling in some questions, but there's some really good ones. So, Malia is asking, is it a good place for direct sales companies and how best to use it? I get this a lot because I have a lot. In fact, I just spoke at an event. My friend Darren Kidd invited me to speak at his mastermind for network marketers. And of course, there's a lot of interest in LinkedIn because they feel like their person is there, but the how seems to be a little fuzzy for them. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome for selling. And if you're really serious about prospecting, Sales Navigator is the tool that LinkedIn has. And it's, it's $80 a month, about $800 a year if you pay for the year, which sounds expensive, but if you get one client a year, it's worth it. But remember, people like to buy, but they hate to be sold to. And what's happening on LinkedIn, there's like a lot of LinkedIn experts are teaching, use this software and just blast messages at people until they buy. It's like it's robocalling and spamming people. So I take the other approach, try to build relationships and start conversations with people. And your profile kind of lays out what you do and how you help people. So just try to start conversations like Kim and I are having a conversation today. We're not trying to sell each other anything. We're just getting to know each other. I'm getting to know you people. You're getting to know me. Nothing's for sale. It's about relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're singing my language there. So I'm curious. Now we're really digging into the meat of this, and I think a lot of people want to know about this. How do you do that? So, let's talk first about that first handshake, right? That first touch point when people start to connect, when somebody reaches out to you, let's look at it from the perspective of somebody reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I want to be connected to you on LinkedIn." How do you respond to that person?
Yeah, I can, because I do this every day. I know they're using software when they send out a message that says, "We have some friends in common or connections in common." It's like, well, I see you're a coach because I have coach in my profile. So these tools scan your profile for keywords, and then they send automated messages. So I'm on to that. But the way I treat my profile is, think of your professional headline as a book title. And back in the days when you could go to bookstores or Amazon, you see a book title that gets your attention. You open up the book, and the inside flap talks about the book. It's basically selling you the book and why you should read this book. And if you do that with your profile, it works really well. So your professional headline is the book title. Your about section is the inside flap of a book. It's not selling anything. It's really talking about you and getting to know you. And then in your experience section, they see all the expertise you have. And then they have the featured section where you can actually put videos in there now. That was something they added last year. And I saw something really cool. They're releasing it. They just announced it last week. Up in the banner section, soon we're going to be able to create a little video to promote our services in that little section. So as they scroll by, it'll just pop up a video and play.
That's awesome. So when somebody first reaches out, because I agree with you, that's a really great analogy to thinking about it in the context of how that first image, that first impression, maybe that's a better way of saying it. But if somebody wants to say, so like one of the things I do, and I'll just tell you real quick what I do is I've got to where if I get the just a connection request with no personal message, I just ignore it, honestly. Because to your point, those are people who probably are just click, 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 trying to connect with as many people as possible, right? Mm-hmm. And I look to the ones first that have sent me a personal message, and if they're honestly, if they're like cut and paste kind of things, again, I'm like, yeah, no. But if they've taken the time to look at my profile and they've said something personal or whatever, that's what I think we all need to start really embracing in the context of real attention grabbing opportunities that lead us towards a relationship with our person. And if you think about it in that context, you need to be doing the same thing, right? Would you agree that we need to be more personal with our, when somebody reaches out or we're reaching out to connect with someone, we need to be personal?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what the problem with this automated software, which don't use it because LinkedIn is onto it. Be very careful because they're suspending accounts like crazy right now of people automating LinkedIn. So only 60% of 60% of LinkedIn members log in once a month or less. 40% are considered active users, so they log in more than once a month. So if you use automated software to send invitations or send content, most people won't see it. So what I like to do, I hardly ever invite people to connect anymore. I go and find content. So you follow certain people, or you see somebody posted a good article, you read the article, and then comment and tell them what you liked about the article, so they know you actually read it. And don't just say, "Nice article, Kim, that was really cool." Say something very, like you actually read it, and you start a meaningful conversation in the comments. And a lot of times, if you keep commenting, like Bob Berg, the go-getter, I started commenting on Bob Berg's he was doing these great videos. I just started complimenting him. And then we built a relationship that way, and now we're friends. And he's going to be on my show pretty soon. So starting those little conversations like that, complimenting people, they reach out to connect to you, and your relationship is much further down the road if you just send these automated cut and paste messages at people. It's more like they're a megaphone blasting at us, as opposed to they're speaking at you. That's one thing I say. They're speaking at me instead of speaking to me.
And it goes back to, think about how we, when I'm just saying for myself, I hate being sold to, right? If I feel like, somebody is, and I get it a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people do, where I'll get emails that say, "Hey, I've got a new infographic and it needs to be on your blog." It has nothing to do about it's all about what's in it for them, right? So don't try to remember that when you're reaching out to people or you're trying to connect with people. Chuck has a great question here. He says, "Can you use personal outreach messages without a paid plan?" Great question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they limit you to how many messages you can send. There's no exact number that they tell you, but with the free plan, you can only do so many searches per month too. So if you're serious about getting business from LinkedIn, invest in their paid plans.
And what is, I know you talked about Sales Navigator, but there's other options too. Like they have some other paid plans. Is that right?
Yeah,
So,
there's the basic for your LinkedIn profile, the basic premium plan.
okay.
And that lets you connect with other premium members. You can send them messages without using in-mails. They've really watered that one down quite a bit. So if you're really serious, I say use LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Yeah, I love that.
If you set up automated searches, it searches for your perfect clients. Every week you get an email saying, "Here's 250 more people that meet your search criteria."
Oh,
And then it tells you when they've posted content recently. So you can find those active users really easily.
oh, super smart. So I hope you guys caught that. So you're talking about Sales Navigator, where you can set it up and you put key phrases in. Is that how you do it? I haven't used Sales Navigator, so I'm just curious as to how it works.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of Sales Navigator training for small sales teams. So I'll search for companies in the US that have a sales team, 5 to 10 or 5 to 15 sales reps. So you actually can search by department size. Then I can also say, show me sales departments that are growing 10% or more per year. Then it'll show me like 1,000 companies in the US that have small sales teams that are growing. So I'll just reach out to the sales manager, start a friendly conversation with them, or look for content that they've posted.
And so you use the content as a launch pad, essentially, to open the door to potentially having a relationship with that person. I hope you guys really caught that. One quick thing, I want to encourage everybody that has a LinkedIn profile, drop your profile in, and we can connect with one another over on LinkedIn. So let's do that. I think this is a great opportunity for us to, have that connection point. So just drop in down there. Let's talk about LinkedIn Live real quick, because I personally feel like live video in particular is such a powerful relationship builder. I know you're using live video or LinkedIn Live right now, but for those who don't have it yet, do you have any tips on how they can get it?
You do have to apply, and I applied about 5 times before I got accepted.
Me too.
Yeah. They automatically reject you, and then, they seem to be opening it up to more people right now, though. So just apply, but what's important is you have to show that you already have done some live broadcasts, like Facebook Lives. So they'll ask for URLs to some of your previous live shows. So make sure you do that first.
Yeah. And I had exactly the same experience where I had to apply several times. And one thing that I did do, to your point, is when I getting declined, I was like, well, poo, what am I going to have to do to make this work? And so I started uploading some of my video content to my profile. And the next time I applied, I was able to get approved. So I think they want to see that video. So if you don't currently have video on your profile, but you want LinkedIn Live, definitely do that. I see a lot of LinkedIn links coming in, your profile links. Make sure you put everything, the actual link, so people can just click on it. They don't have to copy and paste your username, because the intent is to make it easy for people to connect with you. Okay.
And if you invite me to connect, mention you saw me on this show.
Yes.
Otherwise, I probably won't accept your invitation.
Oh, yes. Don't forget to do that. Well, this is a great experiment for you guys. So let's talk about that real quick. If you click on any of the links that are in the area down under, then when you go to connect with that person, if you're not already connected, write a personal message. Check out their profile. Find something that you can relate to. Ask a question, something that's a personal thing that's going to grab their attention. Follow up with that go to their profile, find a piece of content you like, comment on it. So 2 small things. Send a personal message when you're requesting the connection, 1. 2, go to a piece of content that you feel is amazing or you got some value out of, and say something. Okay, let people know.
I saw you were on Kim's show, so that you were the common factor. So
Yes.
everybody's fans of Kim. Hey, we have something in common, so that they'll accept your invitation 100% of the time.
Yeah, I love that. And when it comes to live video, what are some of your best strategies for actually relationship that, getting people to engage and come back and connect with you on a deeper level?
Yeah, I just started doing LinkedIn Lives. I got approved in December, so I've done probably a dozen. I'm just interviewing people like you, Kim, and I'm bringing Brian Basilico this week. So a lot of my friends that I've known over the years, I'm starting there. I'm just interviewing them. And what's interesting, we're not selling anything, but everyone I've interviewed said, I picked up a couple new clients from our LinkedIn Live. And it's like a 20-minute little show where we chit chat. So it's very powerful.
Love that. It's, same. I mean, obviously with my show is a lot of the guests that I have are previous relationships initially. I mean, we met in person at Social Media Marketing World and have known each other, air quotes, known each other online for a long time. So it's just fascinating. I mean, if you've been online for any length of time, I bet you if you step back from it for a second and think about how many connections you really do have, and then take that one step further, and do you feel like you really have a relationship with those people? And if you don't, make a list. Start connecting with them on a deeper level. Comment on their content, and this is only. I mean, it depends on the context of how you want to connect with them. Are they your person? Then, you need to have a strategy around this. It's necessary today. It's no longer broadcast is going to be your focus. It's outreach. It's connection. It's talking with people.
Everybody's megaphoning and yelling at each other. It's like, let's talk to each other, have a conversation.
Yes, that's why Clubhouse is so popular. I mean, in my opinion, it's because of the connection and being able to actually physically talk to people and with people. Speaking of that, I'm jumping ahead on my questions a little bit, but I've heard this wild rumor that LinkedIn is going to be creating a Clubhouse-like feature on LinkedIn. Have you heard this?
I've heard rumors too that LinkedIn those rumors come out, and sometimes it takes a year or 2 for things to actually happen. But I've heard they want to be like Fiverr. They have LinkedIn Profinder. If you go to linkedin.com/Profinder, if you're a coach or you're an accountant or a graphic designer, you can create a profile there and they match you up. People say, I'm looking for a graphic designer. I just heard they're actually going to revamp Profinder and let you have a little mini website to promote your services. So they're going in a lot of different directions.
That's kind of cool. So going back to like, what's your expertise? If you are, so it's linkedin.com/Profinder.
Yeah.
Okay, so jot that down, y'all. Because I didn't know about this. This is interesting. Not that I know everything. I love finding out new things. I love it. But so if you're a service provider in particular, I bet this could be really powerful, because going back to people trying to find, like, or social media, for example, we were talking about social media before, where people are on LinkedIn, their business owners are trying to figure out how to use it. Well, if you have a profile on this, it sounds like if you have a profile on this Profinder, then you can be matched up with people who are looking for you. That's pretty awesome. Is this
one
a
of my
new
clients
feature?
is a career coach, and he gets like 2 or 3 clients a week on that thing.
Oh,
Resumes. If you do resumes, I signed up as a LinkedIn profile, and a resume was just lumped into it. I was getting 20 to 30 requests a day for a while.
OMG, y'all.
And it's like,
You
oh gosh, I wish I did resumes.
you get your honeys over there and get signed up for that. I'm like, that is awesome. That is definitely a nugget. This, if you are here and you just heard that, then this is worth, it's why you're here. You need it. You only need one great idea. And I think we got one, at least one, hopefully.
LinkedIn has so many hidden treasures. I don't think they know what. They forget about them themselves.
Seriously. Okay, so going back to new features and things that a lot of the platforms, like we just talked about this audio feature, right? Like Clubhouse is kind of like, a lot of people are talking about it, a lot of people are using it, and then Twitter Spaces is Twitter's version of it. I think in short order, Facebook will probably have a version of it too, because it's the hottest thing lately and everybody's loving it. But let's talk about stories and how short form content is actually working on LinkedIn. Are you seeing it? Are you using them? Do you have any good stories? Any good stories around
Good
stories?
stories about stories. I haven't done many stories yet. I've been kind of playing around with that, but what's working with me, I always test kinds of content. Video, if you upload a short 2-minute video and you put the captions at the bottom, those get a lot of traction for me.
Mm-hmm.
And also just those status updates where it's like a mini blog post. And I think it's 1,300 characters. So it's short reading. And I find if I don't add an image or hashtags, I get more views on those, which is really interesting. It's just pure text. And then I'm always testing all these things.
I know, but it's interesting. And I love that you said that, because, there's been a lot of conversation. In fact, our friends over at Agora Pulse do testing, to see, is it short captions work better, or do long form captions work better? And I think the long form captions, in my opinion, are qualifiers. So if it's like a blog post, if they get all the way to the end, they're in, like, right? I
Right.
feel that's the same way with long form post is, if they start reading and you catch their attention, they're more than likely going to read it and be more connected than, hey, you need this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? There's like no, like it loses the impact, I think. So, when you really have that longer form content, I think it really qualifies your person a little bit deeper and maybe puts you further down the relationship road. It's kind of my 2 cents on it.
And remember, most people are on their mobile phones and they're skimming. They're not reading until something catches their attention. So at the top of your post, get something that's going to get them to stop and read it.
Yeah. So I love that. So smart. That's such a great tip. So when it comes to businesses that are really like rocking it on LinkedIn, what are you seeing right now? Are there certain businesses that you think do, or types of businesses that do a lot better than other businesses?
Well, last February, before the pandemic was really hitting, I spoke in Denver, and there's a lot of coaches in the audience. So I did a LinkedIn search, and there was 2.3 million people on LinkedIn that had the word coach in their profile.
Wow.
Last week, there's over 6 million. And the same with consultants. There was like 10 million consultants last February. And now there's 23 million people that have become consultants. So a lot of pivoting happened in the last year. There's a lot more competition. So I see that a lot of people are like, looking, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, hire me. It's like, no.
But that goes back to what we're talking about. Those that do the work are going to win over those who are, okay, I'm here and I'm just going to spam you guys to death with all of my stuff and I'm going to send you the automated messages and whatever. Those people are going to struggle, I think, in my opinion. So it goes back to spend the time, do the outreach, comment on people's content so that, you are going to stand out versus the other person that
The automated messages worked 5 years ago. I did it myself. I would set up a search. I was searching for 1,000 people a day with these automated softwares 5 or 6 years ago. Like I'd change my profile headline. If I was trying to reach out to attorneys, I'd put some phrase, how I help attorneys. And I would search for 1,000 attorneys a day and view their profiles. And a certain percentage would come back and connect with me because I viewed their profile and they got notified. And those tricks worked 5 years ago. But now everybody wants relationships. They want real conversations. And you think it takes longer to have a conversation with someone on LinkedIn, but it's actually easier than spamming 10,000 people and get one or two to raise their hand. And usually those are your worst clients because they're desperate.
Yes, I love that. So smart. I think when it comes to, it's a mindset shift. That's the thing. We've got to shift our mindset from thinking like we've been doing things to thinking about how we can shift what we're doing to spend the time that we have smarter and get more out of it versus, like you said, the automated messages and you get one or two out of 1,000. You think about that for a hot second. You've, 1,000 messages and one or two people and, versus just being intentional with picking your person, trying to find and spend a little bit of time commenting. I bet you'll spend way less time and you'll have a better outcome, right? I mean, that's what you're seeing because you've done both.
Oh, yeah. One thing when I work with clients now and they send messages like that, I say, okay, read the messages you're sending to people. Read them out loud to me. And they read it out loud. And I say, now, if we were at Starbucks having a cup of coffee, would you actually say that to me and expect me to buy from you? Yes. They're like, oh. I also have them read their profiles out loud. That's a good thing. Read it out loud. And you think, oh my God, that's so cheesy.
That's so good. That's such a great tip, y'all. So think about it. Like go, like if you have automated messages you send, read it. Like in that context, would you say it to somebody? Like if you're just meeting them?
Then expect them to buy from you after you said that?
Yes. You're like, okay. I always try to put myself in the shoes of my person. Like, would I engage with that? Would I respond to that? Think about it from that perspective. We always tend to look at things through the lens of what we know versus, their lens. So try to switch that dynamic a little bit. And I think it'd be super helpful for you. Okay. So obviously LinkedIn is a great platform, very awesome for especially B2B. Does it have value for B2C?
I keep reading LinkedIn says it's getting more popular for B2C, but I haven't specifically seen any examples where I'm not seeing ads for B2C type products as much as you would on Facebook. So they say people are starting to move that way. But like you said, you put too much personal stuff up there, like your vacation photos. People put in the comments, hey, put that stuff on Facebook. So if you're trying to sell B2C products, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's working for some companies.
I could see it in the context of understanding your person. So like, for example, if I'm trying to think of a good example, like if it was a product that my person that's on LinkedIn needed, I could see that might potentially be a great place for LinkedIn or a great place to attract the person. But yeah, that's interesting, that dynamic. Okay, so what's the future of LinkedIn in your opinion? Where's it going? I mean, you talked about it's changing constantly and sometimes daily. Newsflash, like social media does that to us all the stinking time. But like, what's some big things you think we'll be able to see coming, or you see coming for LinkedIn?
Well, Microsoft bought LinkedIn at the end of 2016, and they've been slowly improving the ad platform. It's getting better and better. I'm actually running some ads for some clients, and the clicks used to be $5 to $10 a click, and we're getting some really good clicks to promote a webinar for about $275 to $325, which is really cheap for LinkedIn clicks. So they're really working with Microsoft to improve the ad platform. The other big thing they did, they're integrating it with Office 365. So if you have Office 365 and I send you an email, you can hover over my name and my LinkedIn profile, a snippet of it will pop up right from Outlook or Office 365. So I don't have to go to LinkedIn to learn about you. So they're doing a lot of integration with Office 365, and engagement's up like 30 to 40% every quarter. I look at their earnings reports, and it's like for the last 2 years, 30 to 40% per quarter engagement has increased, and the revenues have increased for LinkedIn. So the integration with all the Microsoft platforms and the cloud and everything, it's huge.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that Microsoft purchased LinkedIn was huge, obviously. We haven't even talked about SlideShare and some of the other
They just sold
features.
SlideShare a couple
Did
weeks
they?
ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
I totally missed that.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, scratch
That was a
that.
gold mine too, and they just let it
Yes.
die. They didn't
Yeah.
even.
They have let it die. I don't know why, because it's always been such a great place for amazing content. I
Yeah.
still use it for research and stuff like that. So interesting. So if there are business owners listening to us right now, because there are, what would be your message to them as it relates to LinkedIn?
So think about your branding for your business. Even if you have a personal branding, if you're just a solopreneur. I went to Fiverr and had a banner created years ago, probably 5 years ago, America's leading LinkedIn coach. They created 5 versions of that banner. So I have a consistent brand look. So I use those banners on my YouTube, my Twitter, my Facebook, my LinkedIn. So when people go to your different platforms, you have a consistent look, even though you're a small company. They think, wow, I get a lot of compliments. Say, wow, your brand is so strong. I see you everywhere. And I just scratched my head. I said, well, I spent $20 at Fiverr. But
Yeah.
that's first impressions are everything. You only get one chance. So if
Yeah.
you have a half filled out resume and you send it into a company, would they even look at it? Same with your profile.
And I love the analogy you gave about the book cover. Think you do need to get your profile in order, y'all. I mean, I was this person a year ago when I was like, I haven't looked at my LinkedIn in forever. And so I did a deep dive, tried to figure out what the components were that I needed to fix. And it's not perfect, but it's definitely better than it was. And I think that's the key first is, well, let me back up for a second. You've got to consciously decide that LinkedIn is a place that you need to focus some of your time and energy. I think
Yeah.
that's a key thing. And then your profile is next. And then and then what would you say? What would be the very next thing that they should focus on, Ted, when it comes to, really looking at finding and connecting and building relationships on LinkedIn?
Well, make sure that top part of your profile is complete with the headline, a good picture, and a banner, because that's shown to millions of people on LinkedIn and you don't even know it. Like the people also viewed in the sidebar, or when you connect with people under My Network, it says you may also know these people, or you should also connect with these people. So that little snippet is shown to literally thousands of people every day. So that's your chance to engage them. But then start looking for content that's being posted where you're like, I learned a good tip from one of my friends last week. Go to Clubhouse, listen in on conversations with people, like if you're a coach that you could help, write that down and connect with that person on LinkedIn and say, hey, I saw you on the Clubhouse in so-and-so's Clubhouse, and mention that and connect with them. And that's a gold mine for finding new clients for you, because they're talking about their problems on Clubhouse or listening to solutions. So reach out to them.
Yes, so good. So when it comes, so we're going to be picking our winners for the giveaways here just in a moment. But where can people find more about you when it comes to like all things LinkedIn? I know you have a website, but where do you want people to connect with you?
LinkedIn's a great place because I'm always there. I've spent really about 30 minutes a day on my own profile. I'm on there every day helping clients, but I reach out to people, I post content, I just try to engage. And now I'm doing a lot of sales navigator training, so I'm reaching out to more sales teams. But there or on my website, yourlinkedincoach.com. I have put stuff on YouTube, but I really got to do more of that. But there's only so many hours in the day.
Right. Right. So linkedincoach.com is one of your your
yourlinkedincoach.com.
LinkedIn coach. Yeah, that is such a wicked smart branding URL, y'all. So
Nobody
there's
can spell my name, so that's easier.
and yes, Rhonda just dropped the link in for Ted so that you guys can just click on it and follow it and go to LinkedIn. So definitely do that. And let me, I saw we're okay. Here we go. So our mug winner is Malaya. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Malaya. So you are the winner of this. Hang on, it's official. You're awesome mug. And then we have the LinkedIn cover templates is Nikki. Nikki, you're the winner of the LinkedIn cover templates. So if you are one of our winners, just go over to kimgross.com/winner and drop in all your details and we'll get you guys taken care of. Get the goodies over to you, okay? All right. Well, I am super excited that we had Ted with us today. I hope you guys I picked up like 3 things at least that I'm like, I got to check this out. But yeah, I'm excited that you guys were here. I hope you got some value out of it. I'm super excited that Ted said yes and said, yes, I'm going to come and share my wisdom. So if you guys enjoyed this, let him know. Definitely connect with him over on LinkedIn. You're going to get a lot of value from the relationship that I know you're going to try to build with Ted. Okay. All right. You guys take care of yourselves, stay safe, and God bless.